Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to another edition of BevNet's Elevator Talk Livestream. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of BevNet's Taste Radio podcast. And over the next 60 minutes, we're going to be chatting with entrepreneurs representing some of the most innovative and emerging brands on the market. They're going to be talking about news and new products related to their companies. Joining me for the next hour is Darren Rovell, the Action Network sports business reporter and a partner with Tastemaker Capital. Darren, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Ray. Thanks for having me. Loved doing this the last time and can't wait to do some great stuff again.
Exactly. Yeah, Darren's going to be offering some feedback and critique of some of these products, brands, and their news and new products as well. For folks at home who are not familiar with your work with the food and beverage industry as an investor and advisor, could you tell us a bit about your work and how you're related to Tastemaker Capital?
So we like to invest in food and beverage brands, sometimes friends and family, sometimes in between friends and family. And then when we love a brand, we go Series A, Series B, and we like to take as big of a chunk as we can. We have many athletes as part of our brands. And so far we've invested in Vienna, the chickpea snack company, and Athletic Brewing, the non-alcoholic beer. And we're always looking for great opportunities. So it's been fun. I love this part of my life, and food and beverage is a great place to be even now.
Indeed, it is. And I have a feeling we're going to see some pretty amazing pitches from the entrepreneurs today. And perhaps you'd be interested in investing in one of these brands.
Could happen. It's not going to happen Shark Tank style where I'll say right away, but could happen.
You never know. There's always a chance. I mean, the odds. You're in the odds business. There's some possibilities.
I need some smell-o-vision, taste-o-vision. I need a hand to come out and give me some food and beverage right away.
Well, Darren, we're going to do our best to get you samples of all these products that you're going to see and hear about today. In the meantime, we can get started. Just if you're tuning in right now, you're watching BevNet's Elevator Talk live stream. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of BevNet's Taste Radio podcast. And with Darren Rovell, the sports business reporter for the Action Network and a partner with Tastemaker Capital. All right. Our first guest of the live stream is Jessica Weiss-Levison, the founder and CEO of Peekaboo Organics. Jessica, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. You look like you're calling from a beautiful place.
It's Miami. I'm in Miami.
Okay.
No complaints.
Yeah, that is a beautiful place. Peekaboo Organics, I know you guys make ice cream. Tell us about the brand and what you guys are different for, how you're differentiated.
Sure. We launched in 2019. We make certified organic, super premium ice cream with hidden veggies. We're the only product on the market that has hidden veggies, and you cannot see or taste it. So you're eating your typical favorite scoop of vanilla ice cream, super premium, but it's fortified with all the vitamins and minerals of veggies.
Very cool. You're introducing a rebrand and a few new products. Could you tell us about those?
Yeah, so super excited. We launched in 2019, nationwide Kroger, 2,000 stores in our first year. And what we realized from hearing from consumers is that as opposed to our original branding, which sort of hid the veggie component on the packaging, they wanted to know that there was veggies inside, and they wanted them front and center. So our rebrand has a more playful, happy take on the existing packaging, where it's very obvious what veggie is hidden inside. It speaks more to the consumer, which is moms of young kids. And we're introducing new flavors, which are actually launching in Target in the next 2 weeks. We have unicorn with purple swirl. So this is a birthday cake flavored ice cream with hidden zucchini, and a cookie dough, which also has hidden zucchini, chocolate chip cookie dough. And for each of our flavors, we have a different veggie paired with every flavor. So when we launched, we wanted to introduce sort of very approachable chocolate, vanilla, mint chip, strawberry, and each one is paired with either sweet or nutrient-dense veggie that sort of amps up the nutrition. And our best seller so far is actually the cotton candy, and it's got hidden beets. Our original 5 flavors can be found anywhere from Whole Foods to Kroger, ShopRite, Harris Teeter, and then, like I said, super, super excited about Target in the next couple weeks.
This is Darren. Let me ask you this question. Is it a substantive amount of the vegetable? So like, people are going to ask, well, do you do that just for an advantage over everything else? Or is there a particular serving size that if I'm looking at it, like, wow, that's actually a whole zucchini? How do you figure out how much vegetable to put in, and is it a substantive amount?
So for example, in our mint chip, there's 2 cups of raw spinach. So that depends on each flavor, the amount, the veggies obviously, but at each scoop of ice cream has between a 1/4 cup and a 1/2 cup of veggies. So I'm not positioning this like a substitute for salads, but it really is. Can you hear me? Can you hear me
I got you.
Yeah. But it bridges the gap between what we get too much of, which is ice cream, and what we don't get enough of, which is veggies. So like the average American eats 2 heads of cauliflower in an entire year and 23 pounds of ice cream. So to the extent that we can make incremental improvements to that, I think it's a win-win. And it's really I'm a parent, so I launched the company because, as one can imagine, it's hard to get them to eat veggies. And I've been in the business many, many years with a scoop shop here in Miami Beach. So I found that this was just a really great way to eliminate some of the drama, provide a platform to educate about beets where my kid would never even look at a beet before. Now it's not as scary because there's, an educational component where it's an approachable way to introduce it. And at the end of the day, like especially these days where you're home with kids and trying to work, it's like if you can knock across one more thing off the list and even get an extra 3 baby carrots and a scoop of ice cream, then for me it's awesome.
Ray's gonna let me ask one more question, but and I guess this would be the one that I'm interested in. What happens if did you ever play with, and I know the brand name is Peekaboo, but did you ever play with the idea if you don't say the word hidden? And what does the word hidden help you do? Obviously it communicates to the parent that the kid wouldn't know, but I think nowadays we're more accepting of vegetables. Did you ever think about not saying the word hidden?
I did, and it's such a great question, and it's actually sort of the basis for the rebrand, because in our original packaging was almost undetectable that there were even veggies inside. And what I realized is parents really, they want to know there's veggies. That's our unique selling proposition. But we toyed with, like, if you see here, it says ice cream with hidden veggies. We eliminated the hidden, but it's such a delicate balance as we're sort of increasing brand awareness and educating the consumer. I think when we get to a point where consumers know who we are and what we do, that's something that I would do. But until then, I don't want people thinking they're eating a scoop of strawberries. I mean, a scoop of carrots, or that it tastes like spinach. But it's hard. That's why a lot of our messaging on Instagram and on our new website has to do with that you can't taste the veggies, but they're in there, delivering nutrients. It's tough.
Well, I'm excited to try this product. I'm embarrassed to say I haven't tried it yet. Darren, I know you want to try it as well.
I do want to try it.
Jessica, will you be able to send some to Darren?
We sent some, of course, absolutely. We sent some to both addresses listed. Did it not arrive?
It must have been a hit in the office because people were probably hoarding them, and I just didn't get to try a scoop. So that's probably what it was. But it's okay. It's okay. I'll find one in my local Target in a couple of weeks, I'm assuming.
Okay. I'll send you if afterward. I'll get your addresses and I'll get your address there, and I'd be happy to send.
You got it.
Fantastic. Jessica, thank you so much. Good luck with everything going forward.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Be well.
You too.
Thanks.
I don't think I've eaten 23 pounds of ice cream last. I don't think I did last year. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I did eat 2 heads of cauliflower. I think that's a given.
I think I had 2 heads of cauliflower last night. But the ice cream, I mean, I'm pretty much an every night pop guy. Enlightened, Yasso. So I think I'm probably there. I do not, especially in this quarantine time, I think it's a little risky to take a gallon or the actual package in my hand. All bets are off if that's going to happen, especially on day 40 of quarantine.
100%, yes. All right, we're going to keep on with the BevNet Elevator Talk live stream. Our next guest is Sam Rockwell, the founder and CEO of Happy Foodie. Sam, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. How are you?
Very good, very good. How often do you get people asking you, are you the Sam Rockwell?
I get it a lot, and I do say, yes, I am. He wants to be me, but makes me happy.
There you go. And it's in your brand name. Tell us about your brand.
So Happy Foodie is a brand that's all about accessibility to good food. We really want anybody to be able to become a foodie, regardless of where somebody lives and no matter what lifestyle somebody adheres to. There are people that are on gluten-free, on keto, low carb diets. Well, under the Happy Foodie platform, anybody can have good food. It doesn't just need to be about an obligatory meal anymore. Food should be good and available and accessible to everybody.
Yeah, and you've got some new products that you're launching, including a few ones that are focused on the keto diet. Can you tell us about them?
Correct. Yeah. So last year in 2019, we launched a line of keto low carb meals as well as veggie sides, and they were a hit. And so we're continuing to expand the product line. And come Q3, we'll be launching nationally with a high protein oatmeal bowl for breakfast, wild blueberry, and a vanilla brown sugar. And these are made with rolled and steel cut oats and blended together with Greek yogurt, which gives it higher protein, creaminess, tastes really good, super easy to heat up. And on the keto bowl side, for keto meals, we're launching a keto friendly breakfast bowl, which has sausage, scrambled eggs, cheese, and hemp seeds. And then a keto friendly lasagna, as well as a keto friendly shepherd's pie. And then on the veggie sides, we're launching Mexican street corn, roasted Brussels sprouts with a balsamic glaze, and then loaded potatoes au gratin. So really hitting all sides of the plates, better for you meals, super easy and convenient.
Sam, let me ask you this. On keto, do you think keto is real long-term? Because obviously we've been going on this trend for about a year and a half strong. And then someone says to me, yeah, you can lose weight, but then wait till you get the blood tests. And we haven't had, many people talk about the blood tests. So when you talk about keto, is that something that you believe is a long-term proposition? Or does it not have to be? And hey, it just lasts as long as this line lasts. Where are you on keto in general?
So we've found that keto does have staying power for a number of reasons. High protein is something that has lasted the test of time, as well as good taste. And the beautiful thing about keto diet is that it can have a really great taste. That being said, Happy Foodie is about accessibility based on lifestyle. So as keto is a trend right now, and the products are good and they're healthy, we can also and plan on creating meals that fit into different lifestyles. But to answer your question short, keto seems to have staying power right this second. Consumers are responding to it.
And then all this stuff is in the frozen food section of supermarkets?
That is correct. Yeah. So
how do you look at today's environment that we're in now, given that people are potentially either, it could go one or two ways. Someone who has never cooked all of a sudden thinks they're now a great chef because they don't want to go to the supermarket as much.
That's
or
me.
Someone then goes to the supermarket and frozen is more relevant, almost to the most relevant since the 1960s when we first had TV dinners. So where do you think it goes?
Yeah. So first and foremost, our goal is to bring restaurant quality food to your kitchen that's convenient. Put it in the microwave, throw it in the oven. And that's when I say that's me. You don't want me to cook for you, but I'll gladly heat you up something. Right now, people are looking for elevated foodie flair meals, but need convenience. We also want to be very mindful of value in this heightened time of financial crisis and a lot of challenges for a lot of people. And so if we can put together simple meals that are better for you, but also convenient and have this elevated restaurant inspiration, I think that that's what people are going to be looking for. And we've started to expand outside of just the lifestyle meals into the veggie sides because sides are starting to take center stage. People can heat up or cook grilled chicken, but have our potatoes au gratin, and it turns into a restaurant quality meal at home.
Well, Sam, you have my mouth watering. Thank you so much for sharing the news about your brand. I love your logo, by the way, and I love the
Thanks.
name. Congrats on everything you've done to this point, and please stay in touch.
Thanks. We want everybody to be happy through food, and we're fighting food insecurity. So one person at a time, want to bring them some food. Check out our GoFundMe, Foodie Fund.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, Darren, indeed, frozen food, a really important part of, the new normal, so to speak. I know my freezer is overflowing at this point.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, I really do believe that there are people who did not cook at all and who now cook and think they should be on the Food Network. I know I've cooked about 38 out of 40 days of quarantine, and I do wonder. Given the new way of going to the supermarket, what is going to win out? What's good, whether people are actually going to take their vegetables versus, and I have not actually seen the numbers on frozen. I know that Green Giant with their riced cauliflower, I mean, that's been over the past 2 years, that's been for me the frozen product of the year. But I think that let's see how this bears out. Obviously there's just so much freezer space. I have two freezers. I need a third one right now.
Well, if you can find one, buy one. I haven't seen many on the market. All right, so up next is Mike McKim, who's the founder and CEO of Cuvée Coffee. Mike, how are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Great to see you. How is Austin doing?
So far, so good. Still here. Not much live music, but aside from that, we're doing as well as everybody else.
Right on. Tell us a bit about Cuvée Coffee for folks who aren't familiar with the brand.
Sure. Started Cuvée in 1998, and really the engine of this machine is roasting coffee. And so probably what we are most well known for is whole bean coffee. Built a business selling to independent coffee shops and stuff like that. And then over the years have expanded into other areas.
When did you start your own brand to consumers? I mean, from going from B2B to B2C.
Actually, we started B2C. It was kind of a hobby. And that hobby, we started selling coffee to friends and family. And then that led into the B2B side.
You've got a bunch of products. Some of them could be B2B, but they all look like they're consumer focused. Could you tell us about them?
Sure. Whole bean is where, we rest our hat. And because of demand and because we're in more grocery stores, we've expanded that line into a ground coffee offering, both in grocery and then also B2C. We have done an instant coffee. It's a crystallized coffee, comes in a little cigarette pack like this. Just add it to hot or cold water, stir it. The other thing it's great for is that the Dalgona coffee that everybody's doing right now, that whipped coffee thing that you see on Instagram. The other thing I'm super excited about is our new single serve product. And these are all products we were going to launch at Expo. Single serve, filter bag, real simple. Take your filter bag, 10 ounces of water, boop, boop, add it together, let it steep, drink it. You can steep it in cold water overnight. You can steep it in hot water for about 5 minutes. All the packaging is recyclable and compostable. So unlike some other single serves, super environmentally friendly. That's all on the coffee side of the world. And as you know, when I got introduced to you guys in 2015, it was because we pioneered a product called Nitro Cold Brew. So in 2011, we launched Nitro Cold Brew in kegs. And then in 2014, we're the first people in the world to can it. You guys were kind enough to give us an award for that, so thanks very much.
It was well deserved.
And the cans, what I found is launched us from the coffee industry to the beverage industry. And so my trip to BevNet in 15 was very eye-opening. Obviously, our first product that we launched with was plain black. We still have that, and that's what we sell most of. I like to be a little bit left to center when it comes to product offerings. So when we did a line extension, the second one we did was hemp oil. So we launched a CBD product shortly after the black. That was kind of just on the very beginning of the CBD increase. And then everybody's crying for a sweet coffee. So we launched horchata, one of our best-selling drinks at our coffee bar when we have it on the menu. So horchata was a natural progression. This year, we actually launched 4 new flavors. So we listened to our consumers. They wanted some mainstream, sweet flavors. So vanilla and mocha were 2 flavors that just were low-hanging fruit, made a lot of sense. And then in true Cuvée fashion, we also did banana and lemon ginger.
Let me ask you this question. Starbucks obviously is going to get hit store-wide, or certainly has. They have an incredible stronghold on the supermarkets. How are you distributed, and are you available to distribute, like, do you do any direct to consumer, which could be a potential opportunity in this world?
A huge opportunity. And as a matter of fact, at the beginning of this pandemic, what we've seen is obviously our wholesale business, our whole bean and stuff to coffee shops and restaurants has basically vanished. And our direct to consumer and grocery has skyrocketed. So 100%, I have a very strong focus on direct to consumer right now.
Very cool. Well, Mike, your new products look amazing. Your old products have always been amazing. Can't wait to try them. And
Got one more. Can I tell you about one more?
Oh, absolutely, please.
The last one, this one I'm super excited about. For about a year, we've had people ask us for a multi-pack. I got a lot of friends in the fitness industry, and they're saying, man, give me a product that I can mix with my protein shake. So we launched this bag-in-a-box. I really like the bag-in-a-box format. We set it up so that it'll fit in your refrigerator shelf very comfortably. Love the spout because lets coffee out without letting air in. It's actually shelf stable. Depending on whether you store it ambient or refrigerated, you get a 4 to 6 month shelf life. So it's actually, even though it's a little heavy, it's a product that we can ship direct to consumer. Nitro's cold chain, so it's a little more logistic and costly, challenging. But this, you can dilute 1-to-1 with water. You can drink it super strong, or you can just pour it over ice. That's the way I like to drink it.
Outstanding. Once again, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Keep Austin weird, and hope to get to visit you pretty soon.
Right on. Thanks for having me.
All right. If you're just tuning in, this is the BevNet Elevator Talk live stream. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of BevNet's Taste Radio podcast. Joining me is Darren Rovell, a partner with Tastemaker Capital and sports business reporter with the Action Network. All right, we're going to move on to our next entrepreneur of the show. That's Rebecca Remily, who's the CEO of Wedderspoon Organic. Rebecca, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Wedderspoon Organic, what do you guys do?
We are a Manuka honey company. Wedderspoon's been around since about 2005. And at that time, Manuka was very well known in Europe and Asia, but not very well known in North America. And so the company was founded to basically bring Manuka to North America. In the past couple of years, Manuka's gotten quite a bit of attention, and Wedderspoon is the #1 selling brand in the US.
And you've got some new products coming to CVS. Can you tell us about them?
Absolutely. We're launching some new immunity gummies, which what makes these gummies special is that they have no corn syrup, no cane sugar, no artificial sweeteners, but they are made with Manuka honey and the goodness of whole fruit.
When I look at that market, is that the when I go into Whole Foods, the Manuka is now like locked up?
Yeah, sadly that is true at some stores. That
Why is that? Besides the fact that I see like it's whole Manuka and it's like $179. Is it the price that they're worried about, or is it some other thing that I should be concerned about?
Yeah, no. The Manuka is now very well regulated. And so any product that is produced and packed in New Zealand and shipped out of the country has to follow the MPI government standards. So any Manuka product that has a fern mark on it, you can absolutely feel very, very comfortable about it. The retailers that have had to lock up the product at the front of the stores, it's purely a theft problem. And it's a handful of retailers, but it definitely is an issue.
I mean, that's been a lot of intrigue around Manuka for me, because it's literally at the Whole Foods in Bryant Park. It's the only thing that's locked up. So you start to look at it and say, like, what is this Whole Foods version of the heated razor? And so I guess my one major question is going to be, it's been around for a long time and I know of it, but I'm like a niche food guy. How much education needs to be done in order to kind of make it more mainstream, or is it okay if it's niche for you?
It's absolutely something that needs to be broadcast. We want everyone to know about Manuka, and Wedderspoon has actually kind of taken on that challenge. When I started with the company about 5 years ago, I would say that the category index, CDI, was in the single digits in the United States. We now believe that the category awareness is probably in the mid-teens in the US, which is still relatively low. So that is absolutely one of our goals, to make Manuka mainstream.
And the function of your new gummies, immunity, the timing couldn't be better. How are you going to communicate the product to consumers? I mean, is it just, hey, we're going to improve your immune system, or what's the messaging you guys are trying to get across?
Yeah, absolutely. So these are both immunity gummies, and it's a couple of ingredients that make them so. Both of the products are made with organic amla, so they provide 100% vitamin C. The citrus flavored product also has 100% zinc and selenium of RDIA, and the berry flavored product has 5 billion CFUs of DE111 probiotic. So it's got both a digestive and an immune support aspect to it.
Outstanding. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those in my local CVS. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us on the live stream, and good luck with everything going forward.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Darren, I know you're going to want samples of all these products, and I know entrepreneurs watching at home are going to want to get in touch with you. How do they do that? Yep, you're muted. Darren is muted. Well, I can tell you how to do it.
I'm unmuting myself. Sorry. I was worried about a kid coming in. That's why.
That's a real worry these days.
One of 3 chance right now. My email is Darren@tastemakercapital.com, TASTEMAKER capital CAPITAL.com. The gummy space is really interesting. My kids now take 2 gummies. I think in the next 5 years, we're going to be taking 5 to 7 gummies a day with various attributes. It is extremely, once you put something and you gummyize it, I feel like the gummy aisle is going to be the same as what the yogurt aisle was 4 or 5 years ago. And I think the competition it's going to be very interesting because of the way the gummies are laid out, and you might just get put into the whole gummy category instead of next to what your main product is, which could be an issue. So I'm pro gummy, but I think the market is so crowded that once you do put something into a gummy, you also open up yourself to, well, everyone's doing it.
All right, great feedback. Good stuff. I think we're going to keep on moving on, and that moving on gets us to Josh Ellis, who's the founder of Witco Cocktails. Josh, how are you?
Doing well, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Fantastic. It's great to see you. We've been chatting via email, talking on the phone. It's great to see you in person, or well, as close to in person as we're going to get right now.
Yeah, it's good to put a face with a name.
It definitely is. Witco Cocktails. I'm a fan. Tell folks at home about the brand.
Yeah, so Witco is a fresh ingredient cocktail mix. There's no preservatives, no additives, no gluten. You simply pour Witco, add the suggested liquor, which is written on every bottle. You give it a stir or shake, and you've got a cocktail. It usually takes about 10 to 15 seconds to make. I'll give you guys a little glimpse of what the bottles look like. I know we're on virtual, but we've got 6 different cocktails, and we're about to release our 7th. For us, when we set out, it was always about community. So Witco stands for With Company. And the goal is to help people be better hosts when they're spending time with friends, to allow them to make a craft cocktail so they can have more time to spend with their guests. So for us, we knew that hosting and really having a cocktail is time-consuming, costly, and just complicated, buying all the ingredients. And for someone like me that has no bartending background, it was, how do I get great taste without really having to go and learn the full process of building cocktails.
I think you might want to change your company name to Alone.
Right.
But no, seriously, I have mixed more cocktails over the last 40 days than I've mixed in my entire life. True story. I have used mixes. Yep. I think you're in a great place right now, as the bar business is clearly going to go down. Other than making a good mix, what's going to make someone choose you? Is there less sugar? Is there something besides it being great? Because I think the problem with me is when I'm looking at mixes, I tend to look at, like you do in life, what looks the prettiest or coolest, and you could probably win that battle. But is there anything that you have that is kind of a redeeming quality, or something that's better than others that you either advertise or you know and you want to flaunt?
Absolutely. Good question. You know, we spent, like you touched on, so long trying to figure out something that looks different on the shelf. So I had to think through the full experiences. What is someone going to experience when they see it? What are they going to experience when they feel and touch it? What are they going to experience when they drink it and try it? What are they going to experience when they're sharing it with company, or in this case, doing virtual happy hours? So the biggest thing was, how do we do a shrink wrap to where right away someone looks at everything on the shelf and our product stands out? Secondly is, I feel like the mixer space, we all try these mixers and generally we're like, pretty good. Our goal was, let's take recipes from a bar. My partner was a bartender. I said, let's take your recipes and actually take it from the bar to the bottle. And let's not try to cut corners with preservatives or additives or any type of artificial flavoring. So we've had 0 returns, and our customer repeat is at 65%. So what we're seeing is people actually leaving whatever their experience was before, which was probably making it on their own or having another cocktail mixer, and leaning toward us. And I asked people, why'd you buy it? They said, well, I love what it stood for. The fact that it had a mission for building community and relationship, that's what caught me. Second was the brand. And then third, you convinced me enough to buy it off of your messaging and your branding. And then you convinced me to keep buying it over and over because your taste lined up with the experience and that you gave me even before I purchased the bottle. So obviously that's a very uphill battle, because it's a try it and buy it product.
So my one piece of advice for you is to try to offer more recipes per flavor than anyone out there. I don't know how you do it on the packaging. Maybe one of those things that seals and then there's a sticker and it goes in accordion type way. But like, I feel like if you could say, well, whatever price this is a great value, and it says there's 40 drink recipes inside, sure, you can send someone to a website. But there was a honey that I recently got, and they gave me 20 recipes. And I was thinking about, like, they're telling me how to use it right. I think a drink is not simple, as you said. And the more you can tell people and guarantee at the point of purchase what is right and the opportunities and the different things that they can do, I think you'll have a better chance to sell it on site. And also for the liquor stores, I think the mixer section is going to get much bigger, which is a good thing for you.
Absolutely, Darren. I agree with you there. Wanted to share with you guys something that is launching next week. Is we do have an agave margarita that we pre-sold and in a day completely sold out with guaranteed shipment for Cinco de Mayo. So obviously, going the agave nectar route was a huge response from a market standpoint, and selling out obviously is exciting. I've never even seen a bottle wrapped, right? We're kind of keeping up with, like you said, a space that's going upward while everyone's drinking at home. So the day that product lands, it ships out an hour later. So that's just something new I want to share with you guys. It's just the excitement around a margarita just in time for Cinco de Mayo.
Well, if it's as good as your old-fashioned product, and I'm sure it is, I'm sure it's going to be a huge hit. Josh, really happy you got to join us here on the live stream. Excited to see how the brand develops in the next few months, and please stay in touch.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
All right.
Ray, I want to change the name of the company now, but other than that, I mean, the mixer market is going to get so big. I like it. I like Alone. I like You Can Do It cocktails. I like It's Not That Intimidating. I Can't Believe It's Not a Bartender. There's a couple,
You're giving entrepreneurs all kinds of trademark ideas. You better get on that before they do. All right. If you're just tuning in, once again, this is BevNet's Elevator Talk live stream. I'm Ray Latif. I'm joined by Darren Rovell. And right now we're going to be joined by BevNet's Editor-in-Chief, Jeff Kleinman, who's going to be talking about a new product we're launching next week. Jeff, how are you?
Hey, Ray. Hey, Darren. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. How about yourself?
What's behind the curtain?
Okay.
What's behind the curtain, Jeff?
So I've got some people undressing back there, and also a really hairy, fuzzy dog, a couple of kids playing video games, and a kitchen.
I was hoping you were going to say sushi, but I guess not.
No, sooner or later we're going to fill this thing in. Unfortunately, my schools disown me, so I can't display their merchandise. But looking at your background, it really makes me think about what we're about to put together for BevNet and for Nosh in the weeks to come. Remember when you would want to really explore an area a little bit more deeply at Northwestern or Ray at BU when you had a question that you really needed to get inside of, and the lecture just didn't do it?
Yes, I recall that quite well.
You go to office hours and dig in deeper with your professor, with your expert, and hopefully that person would be able to give you a better understanding of the kind of situation you're facing. And so that's the show that we're going to launch on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. It's called Office Hours. Our first episode is going to feature Rob Leichman of the Lyric Group and Jeremy Triefenbach of Stage One Financial. And we're going to be digging into things like how entrepreneurs can preserve cash flow, how they can create some emergency capital at times when you never know where your next load is going. You never know where you're going to be able to ship product. I heard your friend from, by the way, I think we should call it Alone with Co, as in alone with COVID.
No.
I do like Just Add, what is it? Just Add Bartender. But having product come off the line and then ship in time to make Cinco de Mayo, where you have an hour to hand it off, that kind of tight connection is the sort of thing that we're hoping entrepreneurs will be able to avoid by watching this kind of show.
Jeff, what do you think about Bar None?
Bar None?
Or None Bar.
I think Bar None might be a tied up trademark, unfortunately.
But maybe not for alcoholic beverages. It depends what class.
Yeah, it's true. You're really picking the expansion of the mixer set.
Well, I believe in it. I mean, I if I could bring this computer, and this is a desktop, over to my pantry, you would see how much I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And the pre-mixed cocktails are really taken off too. Darren, I got to ask you, your board at Vienna, a lot of good people on that board, right?
Go on Vienna, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of them joining us during office hours, actually, as we go forward. So our second show is going to feature John Majori.
Yes,
We'll
he's
be
on the
talking
board.
about category reviews and resets, some new directions for retail now that the channels are starting to change a little bit. Week after that, of course, we have the omnipresent Brad Barnhorn.
Wow, you got all of us. I better start doing some product placement right now.
So we're really excited, and I want to make sure that I add in this one part about office hours that really makes it unique for BevNet and Nosh, and that is it's interactive. It's like talk radio or sports talk. So the first half, we dig in deep into the kind of topic that these people are experts on. And the second half, we turn it over to you, the brand owners, to try and get you the opportunity to ask questions and get answers that are going to help your business and help you survive the tough times we're encountering right now.
Well, this sounds like it's going to be an amazing show. Am I going to be able to ask, why the Red Sox traded Mookie Betts and David Price? Is it like that kind of sports talk radio, or is it specifically for entrepreneurship?
Well, strangely enough, that goes back to cash flow, Ray.
There you go. All right, the upcoming inaugural edition of Office Hours is appearing on April 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Jeff, you're going to be hosting the thing, right?
For a while, yeah, and then we're going to start rotating in some of the editors from BevNet and Nosh and hopefully Brewbound as well. And guys, thanks for letting me crash your party here. I really enjoyed spending time on the elevator with you.
Outstanding. All right, that was Jeff Kleiman, our
Thanks,
editor-in-chief for BevNet and Nosh. I'm excited to see that first episode of Office Hours. Darren, are you going to watch?
Well, please just email it to me because I'm very busy, but I will click on it.
I definitely will email you the link. I think it's going to be really informative and really fun. All right, we're going to keep on with the Elevator Talk live stream. Our next guest is Josette Johnson, who is the CEO and founder of Josie's Best Gluten-Free Mixes. Josie, can I call you Josie? How are you?
You can absolutely call me Josie. I'm well, thank you.
It makes a lot of sense. Do you go by Josette
does.
often? No? I have it on my sheet as Josette.
Yes, you know what? I go by both, and Josette's gluten-free mixes was too long, so we went with Josie.
I agree.
I agree. Yes, we both agree. So then you did the right thing already. All right.
Good.
The name sounds pretty straightforward. Is it as straightforward as it sounds?
More or less, yeah. We produce gluten-free and top 8 allergen-free baking mixes. So everything we make is not only gluten-free, but also nut-free, soy-free, seed-free, and free from dairy and egg as well. In all of the products, you add your own egg, milk, and oil, so they can all be made with dairy-free or egg alternatives if you want, or regular if you'd like to. So they work really well for a large variety of food allergies and dietary needs. They also offer really classic tastes and textures, so super kid-friendly. I have 3 kiddos of my own. They're definitely mom-made and kid-approved.
Josie, where does it, how many people or how many companies have that top 8 allergen designation? Because gluten-free, I was like, okay, we have so many gluten-frees now. But once you said top 8, I was like, okay, wow, that's
Right.
interesting. So I can't see your full package. So what is in the black there? Does that just say, so it says Josie's Best, okay, and then those 4 circles say gluten-free, egg-free,
They
milk.
say gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free, and non-GMO, just because we felt like those were some of the most important aspects. It's interesting because when I created these, I'm actually not a nut allergy person, but it just made sense to be as inclusive as we could. And this is a very homespun product. I literally made this for my husband and I before we even had kids. And it was one of those things people kept saying, this is the best gluten-free waffle I've ever had. You should give me some or try to sell it. So we did. But what we found in the marketplace is that we're really finding a niche with families who have a kid who's a celiac and a peanut allergy, or maybe a peanut allergy and dairy-free. So many people can use it. And it's such a traditional taste and easy to make that, busy moms and dads and families can be whipping this up safely and deliciously for a lot of people.
Where does that appear in the supermarket? Because for me, that makes it, what happens is you have all the main mixes together and you can't mix in with them. Then they have like, you're pigeonholed into like the health area. And sometimes I kind of want it next to the real mixes, the other mixes that people are so used to. Where are they now and where do you want it?
Right now, we're mostly in the gluten-free health sections. Our mission, we always say, is that we don't want to have products that are good for gluten-free, but we want great products regardless. However, we also don't want people to misunderstand that they are very allergen safe. So that's something we play around with. We do quite a lot of e-commerce. So on our website and on Amazon, we're able to be in more specific categories. But in Whole Foods and the market choice stores around here where we are, we're with other gluten-free products.
And where you are is Oregon, and you're expanding distribution out of the state pretty soon, right?
Yeah, we are. We've really tried to, grow regionally here. We actually started off in food service. We still do quite a lot of that. And we just finished our retailer packaging last year. So we have a food service focus, and now we're focusing on some retail as well. And we pick up all the Pacific Northwest Whole Foods next month, actually.
Outstanding. Josie, I'm looking at your waffle mix. I'm a waffle fiend, so I hope to try some of your products soon. So thank you so much for sending. I think you did send us some product, actually.
I did, yeah.
I'll have to go to the office and pick it up.
Think just to the Massachusetts address, but I could certainly send more.
No. Don't send it to San Diego. They don't need any more. They have plenty. They have plenty. Sorry, Jess. All right, Josie, thanks so much for joining us on the live stream. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
By the way, Ray, it's going to be amazing when I walk into the office and see the time-stamped March 9th, something that I left open. when I walk in on September 1st in New York City. That's gonna be a real pleasure. I mean, like, are the gremlins gonna? I mean, we're gonna have to worry about gremlins and other mysterious bugs since I haven't been there in 6 months.
Maybe, it just depends on what kind of office you have or where it's located.
Do you have a person checking the office every once in a while? I think we do too. So
Yeah, we do, and John Craven's in there pretty often too.
yeah,
It's his office.
he's disobeying social distancing rules. I can see Craven.
It's his second home. It's like it's like a vacation home. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call it vacation. It's some kind of home for him. All right, let's keep on keeping on. We got Rashim Oberoi, who's the founder of Simply 7 Snacks. Rashim, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Very
Very good. Oberoi, did I pronounce that correctly?
That's perfect.
Fantastic. Simply 7 Snacks, that's easy to pronounce. What do you guys do?
So we're a salty snack brand that infuses alternative healthy ingredients into our snacks. So we make quinoa chips, lentil chips, chickpea chips, kale chips, and veggie chips. We manufacture everything in our own factory, have a dedicated R&D group that plays mad scientist every day with snacks. And we make all our products in a nut-free facility. Products are gluten-free and non-GMO certified.
Very cool.
Yeah, and at Expo West, we were going to announce new branding. So we went from that to this.
Much better. I remember that old packaging. I think that's a much better. I feel like that font right there, the quinoa chips on my right, is like, it seems like something that would be in a bulk store, right? Like just based on that font. And that Simply 7 on the other side seems like it's a specialty item for me.
Yeah.
So that I think that's actually a really great rebranding.
Yeah, our group did a phenomenal job in talking to consumers, getting their feedback, and yeah, they said a lot of what you just said as well, and came up with the new branding.
Well, I obviously believe in the plant as chip space because of Vienna. So I think there's plenty of room to grow. That I think people want to have protein in their chips. They don't want to just be eating some garbage or just total carbs. So the better for you snacking is only going to get bigger. So you guys are certainly in the right place there.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree.
I'm curious, Rashim, what's your top selling item and why?
Our sea salt items are kind of the top selling. I think the biggest reason is they're not as polarizing for people, but our quinoa chips are definitely our number one item.
And where are these products sold? I mean, it definitely looks like the new packaging makes the brand a little bit more accessible to consumers and to channels that you might not have been able to get into before.
Yeah, we're sold nationwide. We're sold in Publix, HEB, Wegmans, Sprouts, Safeway, Kroger, and many other amazing partners of ours.
Last question. The rebrand is a tough thing for a lot of brands. It takes a lot of time, a lot of money. What were some of the key points of your rebrand that you wanted to address?
After talking to consumers, the biggest we did two big things. One is we reduced the sodium in all our products across the range, and that second big thing was obviously the look and feel of the packaging. That was really, really important. So one of the things that we did was all our different packages were multi different colors. And what we did was we actually created, these are two of the new products that we're going to talk about at Expo, but they all kind of have this blue background. So we create this brand profile. And so that was another important thing for us.
Fantastic.
My final question for you
sorry,
is
go ahead,
why are there so many cars in the is that an office car? Have to call you in the police?
I'm actually at our factory, so yeah, we're.
Oh, nice. Okay, essential. It's essential work.
And yeah, we're pumping out chips every day for people.
Fantastic, Rashim. I have some of your veggie straws in my house here, and they're a big hit. So congratulations on the rebrand, and good luck with everything going forward.
Awesome, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Once again, watching BevNet's Elevator Talk live stream. I'm Ray Latif, joined by Darren Rovell. We're talking about new products from emerging brands and innovative brands and the entrepreneurs behind them. Speaking of entrepreneurs, we have Jonathan Wolfson, who is the founder and CEO of Brainiac Kids. Jonathan, how are you?
I'm well, Ray. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to participate. I've been watching a bunch of these both before and then more interesting when I knew I was getting ready for my own. So,
Well, here you are live on the live stream. Tell us about Brainiac Kids.
Sure. Brainiac Kids is a brand focused on providing kids food-based brain nutrition, really focused on brain development. So a bunch of years back, my wife and I had to move with our third kid to formula. And we went out and started speaking to a lot of pediatricians and pediatric neurologists and folks like that, just because we were a little Bay Area neurotic. And they all kind of told us that the things we needed to care about, unsurprisingly, were brain and eye, but that formulas were all really well formulated with the things that infants' brains needed. And then a couple of them asked that kind of key question: what about your older kids? My older kids, no matter how much cauliflower we put on their plate, they're still eating chicken fingers and pizza and everything else. And it turns out their brains are still growing really, really fast. And there's a whole series of critical nutrients they still need. There's a lot that people talk about in the first 1,000 days of life for brain and eye development, but it just keeps going for kids. And it turns out that American kids, for instance, are getting about 20% of the omega-3 DHA they need every day, according to the World Health Organization, and maybe 2/3 of the choline and some other critical things. So the idea was, how do we create delicious, better for you food for kids that's easy for parents, and get it out there. So
Can you talk about the push and pull potentially you had with using the word brain in a product? I mean, sometimes there's a negative stigma to, oh, it's a part of my anatomy. I don't want people thinking about that. Like, did you think about using the word smart instead of brain, and why did you decide to go? I actually agree with it, but I'm thinking that was part of the thought cycle.
It was, Darren. We can go a long way down that kind of that's a rabbit hole, but I'll give you the very high level first of all, which is that we wanted it to be very, what I'd call, kind of on the nose, because what we're trying to do is, kind of subscribe to a 1 degree of weird rule, where the 1 degree of weird is that you're doing something to provide brain nutrition directly. And we felt like if everything else was familiar, like we make yogurts, so they're in tubes and they're in drinks, they're in normal flavors, the name needed to be very direct on the nose about what the benefit, about where the benefit went. However, when you start to think about things like the word smart, particularly with what we're doing, which is providing these critical nutrients, then you start to kind of waver onto maybe the wrong side of the angels if you're making promises about.
I agree. Not only the angels, but also the FDA or FTC.
Good point.
I'm there with you on that decision. Do you have? Can I see it really close? Can I?
Sure.
Let me see. Can I see the packaging?
Yeah. I can show you a few things here. So the first line of products that are out they're national in Whole Foods and Target and a bunch of other stores are a line of yogurts. So hopefully you can see that.
I can see that. Yep.
And we have a qualified health claim on there, and then it's a lot of transparency about what's in there and specifically how much is in there. And I think these are the highest levels I've ever seen in any kind of product like this. And also an array of nutrients, because what we did was we brought together a bunch of scientists and nutritionists, because we didn't think we were smart enough to be the ones to decide what kids needed. And I guess what we were going to talk about at Expo was a launch of a new line of products, which are shelf-stable applesauces. And this took a couple of years to develop, because to get these levels of things like DHA and EPA and other things into a shelf-stable product, I had never seen it before. This little pouch here has 130 milligrams of DHA. And so I think they're super delicious, and we were really excited about launching them. They all the products also are about somewhere between 20 and 50% less sugar than the, I call them the brand leaders or the category leaders.
And can you actually go? I'd just like to see a close up one more time of the applesauce.
Yeah, sure. We have a few different flavors. This is just a pouch for the apple. This is a apple cinnamon, and we have a strawberry as well. And then the box, although the box is going through a rebrand to be closer to the yogurt box you just saw. But again, just trying to keep the messaging super clear and simple for parents. Kind of that 1 degree of weird rule, as I said.
Well, I think you're on to the off to the right start, if I can speak correctly today. Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the live stream. Thank you so much for watching, and please stay in touch.
We will, and thanks for having us.
All right.
Ray, is your brain slowing down? Do you need some Brainiac applesauce?
I think I need some Brainiac applesauce. You know what? If they could make a Brainiac coffee for adults, maybe.
Brainiac adults. I could use some, ginkgo biloba or something else in there, choline or whatever.
We'll get you some
Brainiac adults.
Some Brainiac adults and some Wedderspoon gummy bears or gummy snacks. So there you go. All right. Up next is Dave Catalina, who's the founder and CEO of O2. Dave, how are you?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I should specify O2 Recovery. Dave, a dear friend to BevNet and to myself and to me, I should say. He commented on my plunge last week. I had a little bit too much of a plunge going on.
No, not too much. It was great plunge. Just too little.
I can't go any more buttons down, Dave. It's not appropriate for the internet. I don't think.
Not yet. As this goes on, maybe you'll unbutton a little bit.
Oh boy, I'd have to get Jeff's backdrap there, and
that's right.
Whatever he's doing behind.
Can we stop right now on this?
Is this getting weird? What's the problem?
I'm gonna need some O2 recovery.
You might. Okay, so O2 Recovery. For folks who aren't familiar with the brand, what is it all about?
Yeah. So O2 is a drink that helps people get back to normal faster after workouts. So it was originally started on the premise that more and more people are working out at high intensities, like elite athletes. So in places like CrossFit gyms, hot yoga studios, places like that, but they're not spending the same amount of time on recovery as elite athletes. So they can't, because they're busy people, they can't afford to be slowed down by the dehydration and fatigue and soreness that's common absent proper recovery. So O2 solves that problem.
And you guys have dramatically expanded distribution of late. Can you tell us about some of your retail wins?
Yeah, we have. We tripled our Kroger distribution. So right now we're in about 1,000 Kroger stores with all 4 of our core flavors. And then we launched right before COVID hit. So perfect timing to launch. We launched at all of the Sprouts stores in the country as well. And then we've got a region of Whole Foods that we do really well in too.
Fantastic. I'm really impressed by your charitable initiative of late. Can you just briefly tell us about what that is all about?
Yeah. So even though we've got all these great distribution wins on the grocery side, the bulk of our business, O2 was started in the gym scene. So the bulk of our business is still independent CrossFit gyms, yoga studios, boot camps, places like that, wholesaling O2 to their members. And that channel effectively shut down with COVID. And so a little over a month ago, we took some pretty dramatic action and we pledged to give back 50% of the profits from our online sales back to the gyms that were shut down by COVID. And so we saw a really overwhelming response from gym members who wanted to support their gyms by purchasing O2 online. Our D2C sales went up 700% overnight, basically, and they've effectively stayed there. And we also saw great response by the gym owners themselves. And so we formed a coalition of other brands who have pledged to do the same thing. And so far, we've raised over $200,000 to give back.
Yeah, recovery is an interesting category, particularly for sports. It seems like it's, it was dominated by Gatorade, and now there's been some innovations in the way that people think about getting hydration and vitamins and nutrients into their bodies. Darren, I'm curious, for someone who knows a heck of a lot about Gatorade, what do you think about O2?
I mean, there's definitely a window. I don't think Gatorade has done a good enough job as they could. You know, they tried to do the 1, 2, 3, where 1 was before and 2 was during and 3 was after. And to be honest with you, they didn't realize that if you don't communicate that to the people on the lowest part of the totem pole in the supermarkets, they're going to mix the 1s and 2s and 3s, and then all of a sudden you have nothing. So I think recovery. I mean, you just look at Hyper Ice and Normatec, that deal, and to be in the recovery space is really big. I mean, I'm 41 and I'm not an athlete, and I can run a marathon partly because I eat right or have my massage guns or other things. So it's amazing to think about what recovery means. And I think the word recovery is just one of those great words that means so much right now.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that when we first launched. We launched a little over about 6 years ago, actually. And so recovery wasn't so much of a thing, but recovery is definitely a thing right now with the guns and the different, massage places and cryotherapy. And so we've definitely seen a big benefit from that too.
Fantastic. Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. This has been a lot of fun, and it's just been amazing to see your brand grow over the years. I know we'll stay in touch, but congratulations to everything at this point.
Thank you guys very much.
All right. That was Dave Catalina, the founder and CEO of O2 Recovery. Darren, we've got one more. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Our last entrepreneur of the show is Krishna Kalyanan, who is the CEO of Catalina Crunch. Krishna, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Very good. Very good. Kalyanan, did I get that correct?
Close. Kalyanan.
Kalyan. Okay. I think I originally had it correct, but that's what happens.
You win the best beard of the show. You beat out Ray by a hair.
Literally by a hair. Krishna, tell us about Catalina Crunch.
So we manufacture keto-friendly snacks and cereals. And I started the company about 3.5 years ago. I'm a type 1 diabetic, epileptic as well. Been on keto since 2009, freshman year of college. That's an overview about us.
And you're launching a couple new products, keto focused. Could you tell us about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have currently 3 different flavors of keto-friendly cereal. We have a dark chocolate, a cinnamon toast, and a maple waffle. Sold in about 5,000 doors. And we're coming out with 3 new flavors, which you can buy wholesale off our website right now, actually. We have a mint chocolate chip, a chocolate banana, and a honey graham. And then we've also just launched a new, very exciting line of shelf-stable keto smoothie kits. So they're fruity smoothies, but they are very low in sugar, low in carbs. We use a combination of nuts, freeze-dried fruits, things like that. And so those will also be available wholesale from our site at the beginning of next month.
I've seen you guys in the supermarket. You've managed to have good placement, I think. What's the key to that?
The key to good placement. You're asking someone. I don't know the answer to that question.
No, but I'm just saying normal smaller companies that are in 5,000 stores have a big problem with that. I've seen your brand in places next to big people. Is there any key?
My thought is that, we are selling extremely well. And so I would imagine the better that you're selling, the more likely the buyer is to place your product where it's going to be noticed. But we have a great team of brokers who are also working with us to get great merchandising placements as well.
Krishna, Darren had a question for an entrepreneur earlier on the show about, keto and the longevity of keto, the sort of runway for the trend or the diet. Do you see it as something where it's going to evolve, or do you think, we're already reaching, people's communication or people's understanding of the term?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been interesting for me because I've been on keto for just over 10 years now. And back when I first started, I was actually part of a research experiment. I was the first participant into how keto would help with my epileptic medication.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, back at the University of Pennsylvania. And it kind of evolved from there. And back when I started, no one knew what keto was. It was just this bizarre scientific term. Now, obviously, everyone has heard of keto. There are tens of millions of Americans who are, who are doing it at any given point in time. I think that ultimately a lot of the principles behind keto have impacted a lot of the ways that folks think about their nutrition and their body, even if they don't strictly adhere to a strict keto regimen, if that makes sense. Looking for things with more protein, looking at the types of fat that something contains, and not necessarily as quote unquote scared of fat as they were before. Looking for things that don't contain a lot of sugar, not as much starch, not trying to eat as much starch as they were before. So I think this sort of thing is, very long lasting, and makes a lot of sense. As far as the term keto itself, I mean, obviously it's a word, and so it's subject to change in meaning, just like any word is. But I think so far, the thing with it is this was built grassroots from the bottom up, as far as I can tell. There's no keto foods company which is in a top down manner like Atkins cornered the market and started to sell people on the products. It's a bottom up movement built off Instagram, built off Facebook groups, built off Reddit, where folks are experimenting. They're trying new things. They're trying keto. They're liking it. They're liking how they feel, and they're reporting it back to the group. And that's just feeding a cycle where, you hear someone else is loving it, so you try it, and then you love it, and it just kind of spreads by itself.
I've actually never heard it explained that way, but it's completely accurate. It's almost like it's a crowdsourced movement, and it's not driven from the top down. It's from the bottom up, which is interesting because it helps you justify your worth, because it's created by the people who want it. So I think that's a hell of a pitch to anyone who's talking about keto, and who knows where it's going to go. I think people are surprised. I think originally they think of keto, the outsiders think of keto as like, hey, I can eat this much, bacon and steak and fat, and I'm fine. So then when they see your product in kind of like the cereal space, it's not the automatic keto that they think, which I think is a welcome surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And I agree with you. I mean, I think one of the big things is that when you're going to make changes to your lifestyle, changes to what you eat, you want to do that and know you're going to be successful in whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whether you're epileptic and you're trying to reduce the amount of medication you take, you're trying to lose weight, whatever that is. And, I think when you see kind of when it's a bottom up movement, the testimonials are very genuine. It's just some random person on Reddit who you've been talking with for, years on the forum who has lost 50 pounds or whatever it is. Whereas when it's a company kind of forcing a top-down eating regimen onto you, they have paid actors doing commercials, obviously, and so it's much harder to trust the information that you see. And I mean, motivation is obviously key when you're going to try to make any change in habit. Any sort of habit change you're going to make, you need to be very motivated to do so.
Krishna, really well spoken, outstanding pitch for your brand and for your products. I'm excited to see where the brand goes from here. Good luck with everything going forward, and please stay in touch.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Great chatting with you both.
You too. All right, Darren, we did it. We were a little over time, but I could do this for hours, as I'm sure you could.
We were in 30, 40 minutes over time. You scared me by saying don't ask more than 2 questions, but I enjoyed it just the same. And now I'm going to eat my Vienna and drink my athletic brew.
You know what? I just want to make a quick note. Catalina Crunch, I like the name a lot. It reminds me of, I feel like it could be served at wine mixers. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I like it too. Yeah, Catalina. I think of like isn't there a Catalina type like Thousand Island dressing?
I'm not sure. I was just attempting my first bad dad joke of the day, and it's probably crashing.
Well, given that my daughter is now crawling into there she is right there.
She's a star.
It's time for me to go, I guess.
Yeah. Darren, you are just an amazing person. Once again, thank you so much for doing this. Can we do it again soon?
Of course. This was great fun. Anyone want to reach me? Darren at Tastemakercapital.com.
Outstanding. All right. That brings us to the end of this edition of BevNet's Elevator Talk live stream. We'll be back next week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. as we will every week going forward. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions or would like to participate, just shoot us an email at news@BevNET.com, and we'll try to get you on the show. Signing off for Darren, Rovell, Jeff Kleiman, and our incredible team at BevNet and Nosh, I'm Ray Latif. We'll see you next week.